Sacha, ¿me escuchas? Hello. Hello, Elise. How are you?
Hello.
Yes, nice to have you here today for our artist talk. Hello to the audience, to all the friends of OKK, Organkritische Kunst, here in Berlin. Yes, we announced an artist talk with Elise Puddy. She's here, and with Dasha Plezen, but unfortunately there was a problem. Dasha got ill and she was not able to assist today to our meeting, to our artist talk. So it's unfortunately we have her not here. But anyway, I will show a few images of her work. So we will integrate her in our talk more or less. So Elise, you will tell us about your artwork. Maybe you will present yourself. But before that, for the audience, I have a short video I made a few hours ago to show more or less how the exhibition looks like. And yes, I think that's the thing we should do first. Then I wanted to show maybe some works of Dasha's work, and then we start with Elise. But now, first, we will have this short video I made. When I find it, wait, please. Sorry, we are online, and ever it's like this. Now, I don't find it. Here it is.
I
Okay,
love the background that you have.
but yes, the background is actually the mushroom tubes of the Chalciporus piperatus, which is the pepper mushroom, which is very spicy one. And yes,
I
I will
see.
start with the video. So, guys, welcome to OKK in Berlin, Wedding Berlin, in the exhibition Mykologica I. I want to show you shortly how we present this work. So, in this black room, we have the work of Elise Puddy. This is Mixed Media Works, a series uh, of mixed media works which we presented on a black ground, which I think it works very good. Here you have a close-up of Elise's artworks. Yes, on this corner we have the growing mushrooms. We are growing here inside also some species of mushrooms, not wild ones. The wild ones are here, some cut it. Then we go on with a work of mine. It's epoxide, mushroom laid in epoxide, and the idea is to conserve the mushrooms to make them visible for longer time than they grow, which is very short. And it's an experiment. This is the prototype, the first one. So I'm in this, and during the next weeks, I can give some backups what is happening with the mushrooms. So these are dry mushrooms. I also tried with the fresh ones, but it's very difficult because there is a reaction between mushrooms and epoxy. But this is another theme. I want to show you now a work of Günther Miglanz. Günther Miglanz, we have him here in a series of photographies documenting mushrooms, which is his work. He's living in the German region in West Germany, in Eifel, which is very rich in different mushroom species you can see. Actually, I never thought that we find something like this here in our woods in Germany, but indeed it is like this. Yes, and Günther participated here or is participating here with this series of photographies of the mushrooms in Eifel. Here we have a work, also a work of mine. It's about mushroom heads. You see they are photographed from the zenith, from the top, and I make some compositions with the different shapes and colors of the mushrooms. Also here you can see some different layers of mushroom heads. And here you see my working wall, my organization wall, where I included photography and drawings. Here you can see some drawings, some of my drawings from different mushroom sorts, and also photography, and also some examples I found and add on this organization wall. Here, for example, we have the timeline of the project. Everything is more or less here. Then we come to the
something happened. I don't know exactly what. Sorry, because I hear it here. It's running, but actually it's not running there. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I will share my
technical difficulties.
Yes, sorry, but Sasha, can you put it? Yes, okay. There it is.
Okay. I think last that I saw was that you were showing the drawings.
Organization wall. Here, for example, we have the timeline of the project. Everything is more or less here. Then we come to the experimental corner. Here in the experimental corner, we have some old layers from 60s, from schools. This is from a college in West Germany, and it's a series of photolithography. Very interesting and very realistic, so very precise work. For learning, it's super. Then, of course, a few books, information, some drying mushrooms. You see the machine actually is drying. There we have some mushrooms we grow in the, we pick up in the mushroom, in the last mushroom safari with the colleagues. We went there, and here you can see around 30 different species of mushrooms, which I am drying and conserving, dried mushrooms, conserving here for the different dishes, cooking, making soup, empanadas, risotto, and also the famous mushroom butter. And last but not least, we have the work of Dasha Plesen from Moscow. She is working with mold and mycelium in petri dishes where she grow them, and she is practically working with the shapes, colors, and textures of these molds and mycelium she is using for her artwork. You see, we presented it in these light boxes, which supposed to show the transparency and the different layers of the molds inside the work, which is very interesting and also very aesthetic, very nice work of Dasha. And here we have the presentation of some close-ups of these petri dishes, which are really looking like abstract artworks themselves, but it's not. It's a realistic photography, macro photography of exactly these petri dishes. So yeah, that's the work of Dasha, and like you can see here, also we have some real mushrooms growing, and yes, we are still open till the next Saturday, Saturday 15th. So the next 3 days, last possibility for all of you which are in Berlin. You are invited to visit the mushroom exhibition. Bye.
So actually, that was the short introduction. The idea was the people to, which could not visit the exhibition, to have an more or less idea. So sorry for the things in between the bike and everything, because today it's not open, so I'm working here and have some things. But tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, we will be open again, normally from 4 till 8. And Saturday we will have a finissage. So that's the thing now. But we will start now with you, Elise. Then I think the other pics of Dasha I will put afterwards. So I don't want you to wait more longer. So please, Elise, can you introduce yourself maybe first, and then we start with the artwork. You tell me when I should bring in the photographies, because I have a lot of photos of you here, which I want to show already. Yes.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to just thank you so much for having me, and thank you for having me part of the exhibition. It's been my pleasure. My name is ELISE Puddy, and I am an artist working in non-traditional concept-based drawing with mixed media. You can start bringing up the photos of the artwork if you would like. These works are part of an ongoing collection of drawings titled Lycrophili, and within Lycrophili there are different series. Would you like to pull up some of the photos? I don't see them coming up. Excellent. I've spent a very long time working and experimenting with various substances and exploring properties of materials, and developing my own and completely unique technique of working. But I will get back to that, and right now I'm going to talk a little bit about mushrooms, which are the stars of the show. I was introduced to mushrooming at a young age by my Nana. She used to take me for walks in the forest, and we used to look for mushrooms. But it wasn't until later on that I really got into the fungi kingdom. I was completing my bachelor's degree in studio art at the University of Guelph, and I took a course that was concept-based, and it was run by the artist Diane Bersado, and it was based on the act of walking. The whole class was solely based on the act of walking. And during this class, Diane took us mushrooming, and I fell in love with the mushrooms themselves, but I also fell in love with the act of mushrooming.
Okay, but this was, sorry that I interrupt you. This was before you started to study, or before you started to work the mushrooms themselves?
Sorry, pardon?
When you went out for these safaris, for this mushroom, picking up the mushrooms, it was during the university. I did not get it.
Yes. This was a class that I took in university. Okay. I would have been about I think 19 or 20 at the time. Mm-hmm. And the class was concept-based, and it was based on the act of walking. And during this class, the faculty member, who is also an artist, Diane Bersado, took us out mushrooming. Okay. And that's when I really got into it. It was more about not only the mushrooms, but it was about the active mushrooming and the meditative state that you can fall into, and the careful consideration that you develop with your body movements through the forest. But aside from my personal love and connection with mushrooming, there is a specific connection that fungi has with my drawings. And I would say the connection is abstracted. The process of creating the drawings has certain elements that mirror the structure of the fungi. And the two elements in particular are a mutually benefiting relationship, and the other is a communications network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mushrooms are vital recyclers, and they're able to give their partners within the ecosystem this mutually benefiting relationship. And the mycelium network, which is the vegetative part of the fungi, acts as this very intricate communications network. The mycelium is this beautiful kind of root system, and it's this delicate thread-like structure. And it's so incredible.
Actually, this communication between mushrooms, it's apparently not only between mushrooms, because the mushrooms, for example, the mycorrhiza mushrooms means the mushrooms who are connected with a special tree, with a special species of trees. They apparently also are connected with the tree, and between the trees, if there are some needs, I would say some minerals or something, the mushrooms make not only the communication between the trees, they also help to transport. So it's really crazy.
Yes, exactly.
Of cooperation under the earth in the forest.
Totally. There is a photo of a ghost pipe plant. I don't know if you could pull that up.
In your
yes. Yes, it's
check.
It's the ghost pipe. It is
I don't know, I cannot find it.
It's okay.
It's okay. I think.
Oh, here it is. It's beside. It's third row down, first photo.
This one?
Yes. So this is the ghost pipe, and it's not a mushroom. It's a plant, but it doesn't photosynthesize it, and that's why it has this transparency. But what it does is it actually taps the mycelium of a mushroom that is tapping a tree. So it's not getting its nutrients directly from a tree, it's tapping the mycelium that's getting its nutrients from the tree. So just to add on to the network.
Yes, that's the thing, because the mushrooms are not plants, actually. They are not considered plants because they make no photosynthesis. So the mushrooms who have the symbiosis with the trees are practically getting the photosynthesis work from the trees. And in exchange, the mushrooms, the mycelium, generates a flow of minerals from the soil for the trees. So it's a very crazy and nice win-win situation, to say it like that. But please go on.
Yes. So to pick up, yes, the fungi with the mutually benefiting relationship, and then the communications network. So within my practice, I consider how to create an environment for the materials and substances that I'm working with where they will be free to communicate mutually dependently given their own physical properties. I'm very attracted to the element of chance and working in a manner that prevents me from visualizing the results. I love and I thrive within unpredictability. I think the more that you work with exploring substances and materials, the more you start understanding their properties and how they behave, the kind of natural laws that they have on their own. And the more that you learn, the more you can learn to manipulate these natural behaviors of these materials. And this is why I usually begin my work by asking questions to myself about how I can choose to surrender control in any given expression. My limitation is to see how much control I can surrender while still granting liberty to the materials themselves.
Okay. So maybe very short, Elise, short interruption. This is guided to the audience, to all the people which are listening and watching us. You can ask questions, and Sasha, our colleague from Santiago in Chile, who is working the platform, he's in the background. He can, like he did now, he can install or put in, switch in the questions if there are some questions. So please ask by Facebook or asking in the commentaries. And yes, we can later, after you finish your presentation, we can go on maybe answering some questions, the one or the other maybe.
Yeah, ask your questions.
Yes, do that.
Leave your comments.
Now it's the chance to do it. Okay, Elise,
okay.
please.
So to pick up, so I do not actually abstract from anything. It's the nature of my work that it is made from direct traces. And I'm interested in marks where the viewer can relate to it but not know how I got it. Marks and traces where the viewer cannot visually identify how it was made. And I love this element of mystery. I think there's such a beauty and pleasure within mystery.
Yes, actually, the audience here, almost all, thought it has something to do with the mycelium itself. But when I told them that it's not connected directly with the mushroom, so like the other photos, which are a documentary of mushrooms or impressions of mushrooms, or like Dasha's work, which is made out of mushrooms, your work is different because from the materiality, it has nothing to do with mushrooms, but visually it's absolutely mushroom. So therefore it was my choice to choose exactly that work, because it's kind of a contrapoint in theory, but you cannot see it. That's very nice, and that's exactly what you are describing now. And I think for me it was the same trigger to say, okay, that's the work we want to have, or we need to have in the exhibition. So it's nice that you explain it now again like this. So the audience was like very astonished about it. So.
This is good to hear. I saw one question before Zachary's question. Yes, are the drawings with ink? Not quite.
Okay, maybe for the audience we have the mystery of Elise's work, and there are some special items which will not be revealed. So I think we should go on with the idea not to learn everything about your work. So I already confirmed with that, and I'm still thinking and trying to find how to say the answer. But it's nice when it's not like this.
But this is
like
yes.
mycelium itself. The mycelium is so mysterious that it's also a reflection in your work. That's what I like also so much.
Regards to
another question. Do you ever use or feel inspired to use colors? Why or why not?
So I actually have done a few series experimenting with color. I'm not sure. Oh, here we go.
There is one.
If you can pick it up. Initially, it was just about the process and the resulting language from this process. And I kept it black and white, just exploring this particular. This was my.
We will
if
come
you wanna
back to
go
this
back,
later.
This is my homemade mushroom.
Yes, I'm searching the colored ones. Right.
So I wanted to kind of strip away the use of color and just explore this language that was happening. I think colors can be coded a lot of the time.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
then I got to a point where I wanted to complicate the work, and I wanted to introduce some color and see how that would affect the language and where it would take the work from the viewer's perspective. And I think with the neon works, it's more like
yes,
gives a toxic, like
yes,
alien
kind of touch of the color.
Yeah.
Yes. To come back to the color or to your chromatic palette.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because when I see, for example, your Instagram account, you have your works there, your artworks, but you also have photography of mushrooms. And when I see them as a how to say, one entity or one element, it's very similar. Even when the mushroom photos have some colors, but it's not affecting this monochromatic thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's very strange. But actually, it was ever for me the impression that everything you do, if you do photography or if you do the drawings or if you do your prints, your mixed media things, we ever have a kind of this in this term a monochromatic language, which is very close to the mushrooms. I'm not speaking about the shape or textures or something. It's really coming from the color and from how you use this different colors in photography and in graphics. So that I wanted to add, because it was also one of the things which was important for me to consider by integrating it. Because if we see, for example, Dasha's work, which is very, very colorful, very strong,
yes,
it's also a contrast which is working very well in this exhibition. in my opinion.
I agree.
And what the audience said till now, it's more or less the same, that these contrasts are working and are producing a tension which is important for an exhibition of a group exhibition of so different artists.
I agree. I'm going to jump back to the
Yes.
Mystery within the process.
Okay.
And kind of get back into talking about why I like this so much, and why I appreciate mystery. And it's because it becomes a type of puzzle to think about, and the possibilities of what the process involved could be. But then I also love to consider and think about the blend of strangeness and normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
I think when there's too much normalcy, something can become uninteresting or boring. And if there's too much strangeness, then it can become unreadable or unrelatable
Or
for the
frightening.
viewer. Sorry, what did you say?
Or frightening.
Frightening.
Oh, I think so. The phobias, I think.
Frightening of
Of
something that you have no complete idea of what it is.
Yeah. I think so. Maybe not for people who are in the mood of investigating, because for them it's normal and it's like the basis of the work. But I think there are people who are really frightening of this uncertainness of this, not something which is not tangible, which is not capable to read, like you say.
Yes. I think as a viewer, though, I love when an artist has given me the opportunity to be able to read or experience their artwork for a long period of time. I think it's such a pleasure to be allowed this time and experience with the piece of art. Being able to think about it and consider the possibilities with the language. With the process and the unique technique of working that I have spent so much time developing, the result is this emergent language that you see. Oh, this one got flipped the wrong way. That's okay. But in the end,
okay.
Would you like to say something?
No. I was just wondering because of the image. So the image was turned.
That's okay.
Actually, sorry for that.
I think in the end, it's the resulting language that remains most captivating to me with this collection of work. It becomes this language has an ability to shapeshift and change its identity from terrestrial to cosmic, or macroscopic to microscopic, or biological to mineral. But then in the end, I mean, it's all of these things, and then it's none of them at the same time. and it has this ability to still remain ambiguous and exist as its own entity. And I really love this because the viewer becomes an essential part of the work. It's up to the viewer's set of assumptions that gives meaning to the work. So I'd like to open it up to more discussion, any comments, questions.
Comments, questions, if there are some. I don't know, Sasha, if you have something, you can bring it in. Yes. You had something, I forgot it. I wanted to make a link to another idea, but I lost it, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so yes, the works you presented here, they are from last year, when I understood well. It's kind of one of your last works.
The smaller works, yes.
Yes, okay.
And the large works were very recent within this year. The medium-sized works, the 28 by 40 inch, they were my first series.
Okay. So it
titled,
was one after the other, to say it like that, in the format.
Yes.
So, okay. Yeah, because the big ones, the big formats, I think it's it's not easy to work them because of the size, because your how to say, your trays, your structures, your textures are super small, are super ephemeral, and on such a big paper, it's like not getting lost, but you really have to go have to go in and search and explore this whole universe of your works. So you also mentioned that it's very difficult to take pictures of them because
It
of that.
is.
Yes.
Oh, it's so hard.
Okay.
It's the challenge of my life.
To take pictures of your work, yes, I can imagine.
Just to take these photos.
Yeah, sometimes it's exactly what I try to describe. So you have this very small parts of the artwork, very ephemeral, very how to say, pointed, and then you have that format. So I wanted to switch now to ask again about the techniques, but I think we better skip that.
Ask away. I will answer. I will answer in my own.
Thematics.
I will answer in my own way.
If you maybe can explain a little bit more of the process, how you came to this, because you had other works before, which obviously was similar or was a kind of first step of it. How did you come to this, to say, okay, that's it, that's the series, that's what I want to make, and in the end present as one work, as one series, as one complete work? And then what's the next step? So because if you have a kind of completed work, then it's more or less finished. So you have to search another way or another technique or another expression to go on with the work.
Well, to give you an idea of how long it took me to create this particular technique of working, I mean, this is not something. This is something that I came up with myself, and I began experimenting with this out of school in 2014, creating this technique of working, and I didn't grasp it until 2017. It took about 3 years to develop this technique of working, and that's why I do not tell anybody what I do.
Okay, but you are talking about the you are talking about the series, the actual series we have here. No?
Yes, this series.
So we can say 3 years, 3 years of work of
3 years, and then the first completed series, I finished this in 2018. So for I would say over 3 years of fails, trials, experiments, and then 2018 I finished Lacrophiliums, which was the first series. And in regards to where it goes from here, I could do this for the rest of my life. I mean, I never get bored with it. I don't know what's going to happen. I get a completely different language every single time. And there's parts of each that have certain repetitions. You see these kind of bubbles happening, or these kind of like root-like structures or things like this in the work that you see are repeated in some works, but in the end, each one is completely different.
Yes, absolutely. So
I have my water softener is going off.
I thought you have maybe mushrooms running around or something. No, but yeah, that's the really interesting thing when you start to work with mushrooms or about mushrooms, or you start to investigate about mushrooms, or in a scientific way or in an artistic way. In the end, it doesn't matter. You will see, you will realize very soon that the universe is so big that you really can, like you said, work an entire life on it. And that's exactly, therefore, I named this exhibition Mykologica I, because I think there will come a few more. So for sure, we will be working. This is OKK room. Okay, we can be working on these items, on the mushrooms for years, till, like you say, till the end of our existence. Maybe after that we will convert it in mushrooms also. So I don't know, but yes, another thing what I wanted to come back to the dimensions. You mentioned also these dimensions of the macrocosmos, the microcosmic, and that's also what we have with the mushrooms. So we invited Pedro Hafermann 2 weeks ago to have an artist talk about microscoping the mushrooms. And if you enter there in this dimension, it's completely other thing, a completely new universe. So
yes,
the mushroom universe, or the mushroom, how to say, spectrum of colors, shapes, textures, everything. In the real mushroom world, to say the world we can see with our eyes, it's one thing. But if you go down, so if you go down in the earth, it's another thing. But there is not so much investigated yet. So I think also visually there could be in the future possibility to visualize more the mycelium structures itself. But going inside the mushroom itself, in the microscopical dimension of the mushrooms, it's completely crazy. So
I wish I could go in the mushroom myself.
Yeah, I think you are a mushroom. Yes. Yes, there is
I'm a mushroom. I should have worn my mushroom hat. I
Yes,
need a mushroom hat.
Look, there's a question from Nicholas. Are there
Hi,
any specific
Nicholas.
artists you take inspiration from in your work, other than the shrooms?
I mean, there are artists that inspire me. Mostly, though, I wanted to create a certain technique that nobody has done before. I think that was my driving force, was to create this technique of working where I could develop a language that nobody has done, and nobody could really replicate unless they take it digitally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's impossible to replicate something like that, what you are doing. It's like the mushrooms themselves. I think there is no singular mushroom which is equal the other one. So even from the same species, if you take from one species, we saw it now again in the mushroom safaris we are doing. We are going out for picking up some mushrooms with a group of people, and we ever realized that okay, you have some mushrooms you cannot identify directly, and then you start to search, and then you realize, oh, but it's the same like the one I picked up 2 minutes ago, but it really doesn't look like. But it's a very how to say very wide spectrum about the mushroom as a art, how to say, as a model, as an artistic model, or as an artistic inspiration. So that's important also for the audience to know, because I ever get asked why mushrooms and how did you come to mushrooms? And well, I had also an experience similar like yours. When I was small with my grandfather, we went out to pick mushrooms, and it was like a shadow in the memory, something like that. And yeah, it was till the moment the Chernobyl nuclear plant blow up, and then it was over with mushrooms, because it wasn't possible to pick up more mushrooms. And obviously you pick them up for eating, for cooking, and so on. And then it was really a huge gap, a huge pause, where nothing happened. And I don't know, a few years ago, I started, I went with my camera through the forest, and I started to take some pictures of the mushrooms. Oh, here's one, there's one, oh, completely different. And then I realized, wow, this cosmos is really gigantic. And so I started to, first with photography, then later with really classification and kind of taxonomy things. And then I said, okay, I will bring it also into my artwork, and started to draw, because I have a series of drawings, and want to implement it in the other artistic disciplines also. But it's a difference with your work, because my work in that sense, it's a kind of replication of the image. But you are on another level with that kind of replication. You're not replicating an image, also, of course, but it's not the, how to say, not the main trigger for your work. Maybe you can explain again a little bit this idea, because you mentioned it before, this idea of how to say, being part of this mushroom, of this mycelium, but not making this replication of kind of documentary, or kind of the drawings, for example, I'm doing something like that. So maybe is there something which we don't know? I don't know, some spiritual thing or something like that.
A spiritual thing?
Spiritual, I don't know. Therefore, I'm asking.
My witch mushroom techniques? I'm not following the question so good.
Okay. Again, then let me try.
Are you asking about the connection of fungi to my work?
Yes, connection of fungi to your work and the connection of fungi to your whole.
Existence?
No, I would not go so far existence, but your thoughts, because you are obviously thinking about your work, and you are passing a lot of time in the forest. You are going out and searching for this inspiration. Well, what's this connection? What's happening there?
Yeah. So as I tried to explain earlier, it's a bit abstracted how the fungi connects to the work, but it's basically a the process of creating the drawings has two elements that mirror the structure of the fungi. And those two elements were a mutually benefiting relationship. So mushrooms give their partners in the ecosystem this mutually benefiting relationship. And within my work, I try to find conglomerates of substances that are able to have this mutually benefiting relationship as well, to create the resulting language.
Okay.
What I mean by that, some substances just don't work well together.
Yeah, of course.
The other is the communications network. So goes kind of hand in hand with the mutually benefiting relationship. So the substances and materials that I'm using, they communicate together in this mutually benefiting way, and they are able to create this resulting language, which then in turn, as a viewer, you can read based on your set of assumptions what this resulting language is sharing with you.
Yeah, that's super interesting, because in the end you really trespass this how to say, this living, or this being of the mushrooms in your artwork. So that's what I really wanted to get out, to find out what's the point. And that's super interesting, because it's far beyond the mere image, or the mere documentation, or showing the mushrooms. So it's interesting to have this position also in the exhibition, because the rest of the exhibition is more to show, to wake the interest of the audience for the thematics. And yes, your work is kind of this, I will not say spiritual, but mystical thing within the exhibition. So therefore it fits.
Thank you.
Therefore it fits very, very, very well.
Thank you.
Yes. So I still have here some pictures of your work and mushrooms. Maybe you can tell a little bit of the mushrooms. You are living in Ontario.
Yes, I'm in southern Ontario. There are some mushrooms here. I mostly venture north, about 2-3 hours north of Toronto. Well, actually, 3 to 4 hours north of Toronto.
There is a huge national park, a huge reservoir.
Yeah. For the majority of my mushrooming.
Yeah, that's very nice.
It's exciting to find little pockets of untouched forest.
Yes, that's the best part of the trips, when you come to the cells, the forest cells, which are like kind of completely wild, which are not
Oh
interviewed.
yeah, and when you stumble across, like when I stumbled across this mushroom, oh my gosh, I lost my mind. I was I was over the moon. It was the most exciting thing to me. The purple, it was fantastic.
Yes,
I spent
can
so much
imagine,
time with that mushroom.
imagine exactly what you mean, because in my case it's the same. So when I'm in the forest, I'm like somewhere else and really concentrated of the environment, of the nature. Not only mushrooms, but obviously mainly mushrooms, because it's my how to say, they are my artistic models in the forest. And of course I concentrate on that, but not only, it's the whole thing. If you go into the forest to picking up mushrooms, or safari to document mushrooms, to take pictures, or simply to see them, to visit them, in a sense, then it's like a mixture between a performance and a meditation. The performance is because you are walking very slow, you are looking, if you see something, you go down. If you say, okay, this is a new one or a special one, you take out your camera, you install everything. So it's really very performative thing, and you have to roll all these actions back, and then you go 2 meters further, and again you make it again, like kind of ritual. And the meditation thing is when you go to the forest and you are really mentally in a complete other environment. So if you come out of this stinky, loud, and sometimes horrible city to the forest, it's really completely cleaning the senses, you know.
You know what I actually learned? So I'm going to answer Zachary's question after this. But this is like one of the coolest things that I've learned. And so apparently the reason why you feel so good in nature is because all of the microorganisms on your hands, when you make contact with a tree or a plant, the microorganisms on your hand make contact with the microorganisms on the tree surface or on the tree bark. And these microorganisms like basically have a little party together. And apparently this is why you feel so good like touching a tree or when you're in nature, which
Yes.
I think is like the coolest thing, one of the coolest things that I've ever learned. And I'm really excited about that little bit of fact.
Yes, it's also, I think it when you go to forest picking up mushrooms, so I think it also is triggering something archetypical. So the hunter and collector mode, you really switch, you enter in that, and you are open in a sense of the perception. You have an other perception, absolutely. And I think it has something to do with our genetics. So something happens actually in that mode. I cannot explain it. I ever try to explain it, and people ask, and yes, but it's kind of this mystery of this mysterium of the world of the mushrooms, and it's ever nice sensation, nice feeling when you come in contact with this mysterious world. And yeah, it's I think we have duties as artists, as scientists or whatever duty to show the people this fantastic universe, and that's what we are doing.
Mushroom duties.
Yes, with the exhibition and our works, the personal works, but also, yeah, this kind of idea to go on with that. And actually, I found out now during the exhibition, it's the first one in the row I do, that there's kind of a mushroom artist community. They are really all over the planet. So I met some people from Chile. It was very funny because Sasha, our colleague, which is now in the background organizing our screens and everything, he told me about the mushroom museum in Santiago de Chile, and that we should make some connections with them and try to find them, try to present ourselves, maybe collaborate them. 3 days later, here appears a guy who wanted to see the exhibition. Actually, he is a friend, I think connected friend on Facebook or Instagram with Dasha Plesen, and he wanted to see her work. And he came in and we started to speak in our bad English. So he Chilean, me Ecuadorian, German, English accent style, and then we realized, hey man, we can speak Spanish. So you're from Chile. I studied in Chile, and when I speak Spanish, I have a how to say, Chilean accent, and people ever think I'm from Chile, but I'm not. And then we started to speak in Chilean and in Spanish, and said, well, what's this? And he presented himself as the director of the Museum of Mushrooms. I said, wait, I heard something about it. And it was really a few days ago, Sasha told me about it. And
you had the
I have nothing to do. It's like rhizomatic. The guy appears here. Boom, there he was. In the door of the exhibition, in the entrance of the exhibition. And I said, really crazy that things happened. But I think it's like the mushrooms are working. So that's what I wanted to say. There's a kind of artist community which are working with mushrooms, and yeah, I think I found a few like you and like Dasha, and yeah, a few more which probably will be presented for the next Mykologica exhibition I want to do the next year, but we will see what future brings. So there's also a lot of other thematics which are close to the mushrooms. You can go in, for example, mushrooms and medicine. Incredible thematics. Or if you go mushrooms and how to say, working materials, for example. No, there's a very new professions practically coming out of this topic. So it's really interesting. Also, the guys who are growing mushrooms and try to grow some mushrooms, wild mushrooms, which is not so easy to grow, and so on. There is so much, so open spectra to work out. So that we will do it. We will go on, and hopefully, ELISE have you also on board on this Mykologica ship. And yes, maybe we have no questions from the audience.
There was the mushroom. What's the favorite? Was it? What's the favorite mushroom? Or
it's the favorite mushroom of mine. My favorite mushroom. Oh, it's difficult. I have a lot. I cannot say this one is the favorite. So I think maybe we will see the video. Well, the short loop I made of the photographies of Günther's mushrooms in the end. So when we finish now in a few minutes, I will put it in the end of the Artisttalk, and there you can see so much. So it's about 5 minutes and images of 3, 5 or 7 seconds, and 7 seconds, and yes, it's. There you can see so much different mushrooms which are really growing all in one region in Germany. And if you go out and search for it's crazy. It's impossible to say this one or this one, because it's so much different things. You cannot compare it. It's like I don't know, comparing eggs with bananas. So what do you like more? Hard to say, sorry. And you? You have one?
I
Special?
definitely do.
Okay.
Well, I love the delicate little guild mushrooms, the ones that, I mean, the stalk is so incredibly delicate looking. I know, yes, so common, but also, I mean, I love them. I think my favorite mushroom, though, is the shaggy inky cap. I don't know
Yes.
if there's a photo, but this mushroom has a shaggy kind of top, and when it's decomposing, the cap curls over top of itself and it turns into this black goo, and it's like
Yes.
this black inky goo that just drips down the mushroom, and it looks so alien. It's
Yes.
truly fantastic. It has to be my favorite. And I actually saw this mushroom for the first time. I wanted to see it for the longest time, and I was driving to somebody's cottage, and it was so by chance that I came across this mushroom. I was driving like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours in some direction in Ontario, and I stopped because I had to go to the bathroom. Yes, this is the
That's
inky
that's
cap.
the ink cap you told
I
about.
stopped because I had to go to the bathroom, and I get out of the car and I venture into the forest a little bit, and I, pull my pants down to pop a squat, and I see the mushroom there. It was a whole cluster of them. It was the most fantastic thing that has happened to me.
Yes, I can imagine. Here we have the image of the ink cap, or one of the ink caps. There are several ink caps, and actually, we have been lucky. Last week, we found a spot where it was full of ink caps, and we collected some of them. The very small ones, the young ones. So when you cut it and they are white inside, still white inside, you can use them for the pan, for cooking, for eating them, or soup or whatever. And yeah, we made them, we eat them, and the others, the older ones, in the end, I put them in a bowl, in a glass bowl, and they converted into ink in less than 2 days. So it was very fast and very interesting, because I thought, yeah, the mushroom ink, you need something else for that, maybe some stabilizer or something, maybe some floor or whatever, to bind this ink. But no, it absolutely is the mushroom. You cut it, you have to take out the trunk of the mushroom, but the cap itself will convert completely into the ink. And now I have this ink. The problem is that you cannot store it for a long time because it starts to smell. And actually, I took it and put it in the freezer. So I have a kind of ice cubes of mushroom
Of
ink
ink.
at the moment. But when I know exactly what I wanted to do with, what I want to draw with, I will take it out and draw, and hopefully use the whole ice block in one series of drawings. And very interesting thing. So I never did it before. And if you mentioned the ink cap, so there we have it, and we will see the results of the drawings with the mushroom.
The mushroom ink.
Yes. So I think if there are no more questions now,
Questions, comments,
questions, comments.
funny things to say.
So where I have it here. Okay.
You can ask me anything.
Yes, or us. So, okay. Otherwise, I would proceed shortly to show some of Dasha's works. I have a few here. I can make some comments shortly, and yes, and then we come back to you, Elise, and probably finish the session. But first, here we have Dasha's work. You see, Dasha is working with these petri dishes and growing the mycelium and the mold inside these petri dishes. Of course, she's working like, how to say, like chemical or biochemical environment, because to grow mycelium and mold, the best is to work sterile. So you have to work on chamber and very, how to say, very sterile, very clear work to do. So maybe we will go through. Here you can see the different shapes of the mold on this substrate. I don't know exactly. Unfortunately, we don't have Dasha here to explain us what the substrate is actually, where the mushroom is growing. But I think there are a lot of different possibilities to do so. I'm not a laborant, a biochemical laborant. I cannot apport in that sense. But here you can see she also can, how to say, draw or make a clear shape, directed shape for the mushrooms. So she also is playing with that. There we have Dasha, also with one of the petri dishes.
Does she have it printed on her T-shirt?
That's what I was thinking also. She also makes works with designed things. I have some pics here also in the row, can show you. And of course here this is a cover or the ground of a disc. You can see, so she's using the design and the photos of the mushrooms for designing several things. Here, for example, we have the photos of exactly, when I'm not wrong, exactly the mushrooms we have here in the exhibition. That's Masha with a dress with her
Yeah,
own
it looks like
mushrooms.
it's printed on the whole
Yes,
dress.
this one for sure. The other one, the T-shirt, I'm not sure if it's from her, but this one for sure. It's
That's fantastic.
Dasha's work. Yes, there is she again. And yeah, here we have the petri dishes. And the interesting thing of the work she presented here, you saw it in the first video I made from the exhibition, is that we sent some samples from here, from our neighborhood. Actually, we have been on the cemetery, Elizabeth Cemetery, and pick up some leaves, some sticks, wood, a little bit of ground, what we find there, organic material. And Dasha worked that organic material as the basis for the mycelium and for the mold she made for the exhibition. So it was a very short time. It was a little bit stressy because it's difficult to ship things. Also, the initial idea was to invite, like you also came to Berlin, you have been here. By the way, important to mention it, that Elise came to build up her exhibition, and we have been here together for a few days, which was a very nice time. And yeah, Dasha also was invited, and she should have come to Berlin, but obviously the actual situation was not possible for her to travel. And also it was very difficult to send the samples back. So she sent me the images, the photos of the work. So here we can see some mode fashion photos with.
Is this is an edit?
Sorry?
Is this an edit?
I don't know. Actually,
Looks
that's
like-
the thing. Therefore, it's very sad that we don't have Dasha here to explain us. But I think it's a photography sampled on the photography of the mycelium. But the clothes and things I don't know exactly. But I think it's overlaid photography in this case. Like here you see it very
right. Right.
So, but she also works with the mushrooms or the mycelium, the mold on the materials. Like here, this experiment.
Yeah, this one looks like it's actually on the shoe.
Yes, actually, it's on the shoe, and super. I find it super nice. So to combine that, so Dasha's work is very interesting. Here you see the lens with the. One of the macro lenses for the photography of the very, very small structures. Here we have again the shoe.
Preserved.
Yes, and the structure. So
In
you
a
see
resin
here
block.
when the photography we have here, it's when she goes inside, really here inside of this mycelium, of these mold structures, and it's amazing the diversity or the possibility of diverse images and very different forms and colors in one singular petri dish. So it's really
Yes.
amazing.
Did we know? I asked you a question while we were in Berlin in the gallery. I asked you about the colors being used and what material that is, if that's an ink or if that's a
That's a good
some
question.
kind
I
of
don't know it.
special dye.
Actually,
We don't know yet.
No, we don't know. I had it in the question, in the list of the questions for Dasha for today. But I think I will invite Dasha in another time, in a better situation, maybe to participate in one of our artist talks we have made the last year. We started with that during the pandemics, and I think we will go on with that. And I will ask her, maybe she can give us an artist talk in the next weeks, months, or something, because it would be interesting, really, to know how she's working this fantastic work. For example, this one, which is now here on the screen, it looks like an abstract artwork, an abstract painting, but it's not. It's really a macro photography of a part of this petri dish, and I find it really crazy, amazing. Or this one, for
This
example.
is my favorite.
Yes,
I love this one. Yeah,
one of the big ones we have on the wall. Yes, and so on, and I can show you thousands, no, maybe not thousands, but a lot of images more of Dasha's work. So this is one we used also for the invitation, and actually it's on the front side on the showcase of OKK. I printed an A0, I think it's A0 print of this image, and we have it in the showcase in the window. This one, yes. So that is Dasha's work. So unfortunately, we couldn't have her here today. But anyway, we wish her all the best, and to recover, and yes, maybe in another opportunity. And yes, now I still have the the loop of the work of Günther Miglans. Then we have presented more or less all four of us. I don't know, do you have something else you want to add, or a spontaneous idea or something like that? I don't know.
No, I mean, I would just probably add a thank you for having me and having me part of the exhibition.
Yes,
I was very pleased with being able to come to Berlin and install and see the exhibition in person.
yes, it was
It was
nice that
fantastic.
you could manage that. So because I asked also Günther, but he's really ill. He cannot travel. And yeah, for Dasha it was not possible to travel. So at least we had you here during the week working. It was very nice time. So we are in contact. We will go on working. We are following up the Instagram. So maybe we can put the Instagram. I don't know if Sasha has it, your Instagram. Maybe if you want to write it here on the commentary, on the chat, or maybe I could search it. But I'm afraid if I start to search and to go around, then I will erase the screen again or something like that. Better not to do it. But anyway, you are very easy to find in Instagram. It's ELISE Puddy, when I'm not wrong. Yes. And Dasha is, you can find her in Instagram, Dasha Plesen. It's, I think, one word. And the work of Günther Miklands you can find especially in Facebook. He is in different Facebook groups presenting his work almost every day. It's really crazy. And that would be the loop. We will finish this session. Thank you very much, Elise.
Thank you.
We said before, we are in contact. We will see how to develop our work in future exhibitions together. Maybe Mykologica will go on tour someday. And yes, we are all part of this. And yeah, why not? And let's see how it proceeds. Then thanks again.
If
Elise,
I leave
yeah,
will it get disrupted?
Nice autumn with a lot of mushrooms. That's There's also the link. Sasha just put it. Thank you, Sasha. Also, thanks to Sasha in the background. He's organizing the platform and helping us here to get rid of the chaos. So, thank you all. I will put now the video loop of the work of Günther. And yes, hopefully see you next time for the next artist talk on OKK. Probably it will be a cat, critical artist talks. And yes, we will have 3 days left to visit the exhibition here in Wedding, which, by the way, is supported by the Bundesverband Soziokultur, the main organization of sociocultural works and projects in Germany, and supported by the National Funds of Neustadt Kultur, which is a founding which helped the artists after the pandemic period, which was really disastrous for a lot of our colleagues. And yes, we thank them also to make this to realize this exhibition. And now I will put Günther's loop and say goodbye to all of you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.